History and fantasy collide in Da Vinci's Demons. The show returns soon to Starz for its second season. Actor Tom Riley portrays Leonardo da Vinci, and Laura Haddock is Florence's most celebrated beauty. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
Florence is in chaos. What are we in for in season 2?
Well, we left season 1 with a little bit of a cliffhanger, with a load of threads up in the air, and the beginning of the Patsy conspiracy, which was a real historical event where some people from outside of Florence tried to take Florence over and rule it from the outside in. But we begin with trying to quell that conspiracy, and so it really kicks off with all our major characters in peril in some way, and the whole city in chaos.
Laura, I've heard you say it's a privilege to play Lucretia. Why?
Because she gets to act with me.
Yes, that's the reason.
That's why you said it, right?
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
reason. Yeah. Aside from that, I remember reading the script, and you meet her, and she's described as the celebrated beauty of Florence, and she's kind of zhuzhing around the Florentine markets in these beautiful clothes, and you think, okay, so a beautiful woman wandering around Florence, living in the 15th century, it's Renaissance. I mean, all of that is interesting. But then I continued reading, and she's just so unbelievably three-dimensional, and she's got so much going on. And heading into second season, I get to go back in time, meet her when she was 16, and something happened to her in her life that is just completely awful, and you wouldn't wish it upon anybody. And it changes her life. It changes the whole trajectory of her life, and she has to choose a different path, and that was fascinating. So she's constantly suppressing feelings that she has, and going against her instincts, and she's extremely complex.
So maybe some of the decisions in her personal life start to make sense?
Definitely. I think heading into season 2, you will start to realise who this woman is and why she's doing the things that she's doing. And you won't necessarily think that they're justified, but you will certainly have a greater understanding as to why she chooses to do the things she does. And often they're not always her choice in season 1, and she's doing things that she doesn't want to do, but it is all for a much greater cause than any of us, me, even the audience, will be able to even comprehend. So I think just witnessing her journey and what happened to her at such a young age, you'll start to realise why she's become the woman that she's become.
Tom, through working on this series, what do you find most interesting about Leonardo da Vinci? I'm sure you've done a tremendous amount of research.
Wow, I mean, it's mainly the stuff I didn't know that was the most fascinating stuff. I had an idea in my head, like so many people, of a very old man and with a long grey beard and a bald head, and it just, I had no idea what he was like in his 20s and 30s. And the more research I did about him, the more it made sense that he would have been a troublemaker. He would have been arrogant and full of himself and cocky and all these things that biographies said he was, because it was the only way he could let himself be heard. It was the only way he could make himself heard, because he was illegitimate and he couldn't inherit land or wealth. He was unable to achieve anything without pushing himself out there. So I found out probably the craziest thing that I read about him was that he used to dig up graves so he could bring up corpses. He would then cut them in half, fill them full of wax, so he would be able to sketch their internal organs to get a better understanding of how the human body worked. And for me, this was just a guy who was very good at watercolours and oil painting. And suddenly I was discovering that this, he was sneaking out in the dead of the night and digging up zombies.
Yeah, I think this is neat. If our viewers are new to the series, they can watch the first season for free on starz.com before season 2 premieres.
They can, anyone, even if you don't have Starz, it is on there. The entire first 8 episodes, you can binge watch them. If you do have Starz, it's marathoning all week on Starz as well.
Season 2 of Da Vinci's Demons premieres this Saturday at 8 p.m. on Starz. Tom and Laura, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.